Hello and welcome. The idea of this presentation is to share with you how, after a couple of tryouts, I came to a rather fast and easy technique to dismantle pallets. The pallets I recycle are not standardized. Each one is a bit differently made and I have to adjust my technique. But with will and patience, you can manage a generous pile of good planks to go on with your projects. The tools I use: a crowbar, a hammer, cutting pliers, and an axe that I use as a heavy hammer. For more complicated parts, a grinder comes also handy. The wood used for pallets is often soft pine wood. I firmly recommend to use gloves to avoid splinters. I also put on earplugs. Now let's start. I start from the pallet upside down, and with the help of a crowbar and hammer, I start to remove the bottom slat and the blocks. The strength they have is very different depending how they're made, depending on the nails used, of the glue or not. I start from the middle one and continue with the side bottom slats, till I end up only with the stringer board and the top slat. It is now time to separate the blocks from the bottom slats. I have found nothing better but just to hammer on them. It is not perfect, it tends to bend the nails and make me lose more time later, but it is also very nice to warm up on a cold winter day. Sometimes the blocks are just too well attached. In that case, I take again the crowbar and hammer and show enough patience that the pallet gives up. But not too strongly in order not to break the planks. The blocks found a nice use for starting the wooden stove in the house. I use them for fire. It is now time to remove the nails from the bottom slats. I hammer them down, and turning the planks, I pull the nails by their heads with the crowbar. We can now continue with the remaining parts, the stringer board and the top planks. Sometimes it is still very rigid. It can be useful to loosen them up from the corners by hammering to help the nails get looser, because sometimes it is just crazy the amount of nails used. In that case, I cut the nails shorter with the grinder, otherwise the slats may just break too easily. On certain types of pallets made for holding in time, nails are nastily crooked and rather difficult to get them out. In that case, the grinder comes again handy. It makes marks on the stringer boards, but generally the longer top slats are the ones that interest me the most. Comes now the time to separate the stringer boards from the top slats. I first remove the side ones and the middle one. I hammer without giving full power with the help of a rather big flat log to give a larger contact surface. Of course, sometimes planks that were already a bit tired give up at that moment, especially as I gather pallets that are sometimes already in rather bad shape. And we continue removing the nails. Sometimes they are too crooked, so I shorten them with the grinder to manage to hammer them down. And I end up with a nice stack of nails. With this method, I really don't break too many planks. Here is the amount of broken planks out of 10 pallets dismantled. And the pile of planks continues growing. It is very important to rapidly store them flat. They may get twisted very fast. By leaving a space between each one, I avoid too much humidity to stay. The shorter stringer boards planks come handy between two rows of planks. Here are nice 2-meter planks that were a bit wet and enjoy the south side to dry softly in winter sun. With around 50 pallets, I should have enough to make the cladding of a garden shed. I saw somewhere that each day in the world 2 billion pallets are used, moved, transported. That's a serious quantity of building material. Before finishing, I would focus on one more detail. Are these pallets safe for your health? This is the country code. I know this one was made in Slovenia, even in which town, Sežana. This HT code tells me it was only heat treated to avoid too much fungi, insect and pests. But this pallet made in China with the code MB or DMB tells me it was treated with methyl bromide. That's not safe. These pallets are now forbidden in many countries, but it is not impossible you come to cross one that is roaming for longer time around. And keep in mind, even if the codes tell you the wood is safe, you sometimes have no idea what the pallet was used for, through which factory and handling what kind of material, be it chemicals. I never use for indoor use pallets that I have doubts about. Strange leak marks on the wood, strange smell when I dismantle them. This said, with a bit of imagination, a lot of things can be built with pallets, also indoor. With this technique, I managed to dismantle and unnail around 10 pallets in 3 hours. I hope this info were useful and can help you to go on building your dream castle with recycled material. Have a good day.